Guys, it's Longy here, and today I want to talk about the small things matter. Most of us are wired to pay attention to what is big, what is loud, what has numbers behind it, but Jesus had a completely different way of seeing things. In Matthew chapter 13, he tells two back-to-back parables that challenges everything we think about what actually matters. The first one is about the mustard seed, the second one is about yeast. And the point of both of them is this: do not sleep on the small stuff. Here is the mustard seed parable. The kingdom of heaven is like a mustard seed that someone planted in a field. It is the tiniest of seeds, but it grows into the biggest plant in the garden, big enough that the birds fly in and build their nest in its branches. And then immediately after that, Jesus says the kingdom of heaven is also like yeast that a woman mixed into a big batch of dough until it worked its way all the way through every part of it. Two everyday images: a seed, some yeast, nothing flashy, nothing impressive. And Jesus says this is what the kingdom of God looks like. And before going any further, this needs to be said. This is not prosperity gospel message. This is not saying that if you have enough faith, your life will get easier or your finances will improve. That is the distortion of what he's actually teaching. Jesus is pulling back the curtain on how the kingdom of God operates in the real world, and it looks a lot more ordinary than most people expect. When Jesus told these parables, his entire movement was a small group of regular everyday people: fishermen, a former tax collector, a field woman following him from town to town. No money, no building, no political influence, nothing that looked like it was going to change the world. And Jesus pointed to a mustard seed and a little bit of yeast and said, this is how it works. Start small, trust the process, watch what God does with it. And history proved him right. That small group became the Catholic Church, 2,000 years old, present on every continent, still standing. The seed became a tree. The yeast worked through the whole batch. Now bring it into real life, because that is where these parables actually land. We tend to assume that if something is not producing visible result, then it's probably not working. But that is not how seeds work, and that is not how yeast work. You plant a seed, and for a while it just looks like dirt. You mix yeast into dough and you cannot see it doing anything. But something is happening underneath the surface, quietly, slowly, and then one day there is a tree where there used to be nothing. There is a risen bread where there used to be flat dough. That is an honest picture of what the spiritual life actually looks like. Showing up to pray even when it feels dry. Going to confession even when it is uncomfortable. Choosing patience in a moment when it could be easier to snap. Being honest when lying would have been simpler. None of that feels significant in that moment, but Jesus is saying it is. The seed is going into the ground, the yeast is working through the dough, even when nothing feels like it is happening. The mustard seed parable ends with birds coming to nest in the branches of trees that grew from that tiny seed. The tree became shelter for others. That is what a faithful life does too. It does not just affect you, it works its way into the people around you, your family, your friendships, your community, in ways you may never fully see this side of heaven. Little things matter, not because small faithfulness earns you a comfortable life, but because this is genuinely how the kingdom of God moves in the world. Quietly, from the inside out, through ordinary people doing ordinary faithful things. Plant the seed, mix in the yeast, do the small faithful things in front of you today, and trust that God is doing something real with it, even when you cannot see it yet. God bless you, and I hope you have a great day.